6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Lal Mallavarachi and read by J. Yogaraj. First, the headlines. The President says that the government is ready to obtain advice from Mahasangha to rule the country. The Power Minister says there will be no fuel shortage by next week. Transport Minister Dilum Ammanigam says that the discussions will be held today regarding the train fare revision. The government to provide a relief package to the people before the upcoming Sinhala and Tamil New Year. News overseas, NATO leaders are to increase the alliance's forces in Eastern Europe. In sports, the 15th season of the IPL will be kicked off tomorrow. And those are the headlines of the news. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that Mahasangha offered Anusasana and guidelines to rulers at crucial moments of the country since ancient time. The President says he and the government are willing to obtain advice from the Mahasangha to maintain better governance on behalf of the general public. Buddhism invokes blessings to the entire world. The President made these remarks at a ceremony to award Aktapatra to the new Mahanayakathero of Sri Lanka, Ramanya Mahanikaya, Agama Pandita, Most Venerable Makulave Vimala Thera, which was held at the Independence Square yesterday. The ceremony was held under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The President presented the Sannas Patra to the Mahanayakathero and the Prime Minister presented the Bijini Patra. Power Minister Gamini Lokuge says that the fuel consignment of 40,000 metric tons reached the country under the Indian credit line is being unloaded at present. Another 37,000 metric tons of diesel will come to the island by the 1st of April, and there will be no fuel shortage by next week. Meanwhile, state-run Litro Gas Limited will supply 1 million domestic gas cylinders in the next 10 days, Litro Gas said. That a consignment of 35,000 metric tons is to arrive in Sri Lanka, while another consignment is scheduled to arrive tomorrow. The company said it has enough LP gas in store to meet the current demand. This news comes to you from Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Transport Minister Dilum Ammanigam says that discussions are scheduled to be held today regarding the fare revision, and after that the discussion with regard to train fares will be increased from Monday. He also said that no train fare will be increased from midnight yesterday. The minister further stated that the train fares are not intended to be increased significantly and will only be increased to cover the required fuel prices. The government is ready to provide a lot of relief to people before the upcoming Sinhala and Tamil New Year, Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa said at the all-party conference at the President's house recently. He said he was ready to present a new budget with the approval of the Cabinet as proposed at the all-party conference. The Minister of Finance stated that as a government, that he is well aware of the sufferings of the people in the face of the current economic crisis. It will not hesitate to provide maximum relief to the people. The Finance Minister says that the government was paying attention to the proposal made regarding a relief package and that the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had already discussed the matter with the Minister of Trade. The Parliamentary Select Committee to identify appropriate reforms of the election laws and the electoral system and to recommend necessary amendments as discussed, holding further discussions to obtain views of the expert committee on the electoral system. The discussions were held when the PSC met under the chairmanship of Leader of the House, Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, recently. Members representing several political parties participated at this committee, and they felt that it would be more appropriate to seek the views of the members of the expert committee appointed for this purpose. Thus, it was decided to reconvene the Parliamentary Select Committee on April 7th after obtaining the views of the expert committee. And that's local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
248 individuals tested positive for the COVID-19 yesterday, increasing the total infections in the country to 660,399. 12,148 individuals recovered from COVID-19 and were discharged yesterday, raising total recoveries to 637,011. Accordingly, the epidemiology unit of the Ministry of Health says 6,938 persons are currently receiving treatment for coronavirus at several facilities. Another 5 persons succumbed to the coronavirus on Wednesday, raising the death toll to 16,450. And that was top news.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Live is brought to you by
More prizes, more gains with CIB New Year offers. Valuable gifts for every bill. 20% discount for bank cards until 10th of April. Visit CIB today.
The National Dengue Control Unit says Sri Lanka is seeing a rapid rise or increase in the cases of dengue fever once again. Reportedly, the island has confirmed a total of 733 dengue patients within the past week. Sri Lanka, meanwhile, recorded 12,034 dengue patients in the days that have elapsed this year so far. Colombo, Gampaha and Kalatura districts have seen significantly higher figures, while Jaffna district also witnessed an increase. And that was Watchline.
More prizes, more gains with CIB New Year offers. Valuable gifts for every bill. 20% discount for bank cards until 10th of April. Visit CIB today.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
No matter what anyone says, for your lease, visit the Leasing Mahagedara. People's Leasing, Friendly Leasing Mahagedara. More information from the nearest People's Leasing branch.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
For C headlines, NATO leaders are to increase the alliance's forces in Eastern Europe. Russian warship destroyed in occupied port of Bertyansk in Ukraine. Russia's cost of living soars by more than 14%. And those are the headlines of the world news. NATO leaders approve major increases of the alliance's forces in Europe or Eastern Europe at an emergency summit in Brussels. NATO spokesman Jena Stoltenberg says 4 new battle groups will be sent to Slovakia, Hungary, Bulgaria and Romania, and said the invasion had changed security for the long term and NATO was prepared for the long haul. Meanwhile, President Zelensky has asked people everywhere to take to the streets in a show of support for Ukraine to mark 1 month of Russian invasion. A Russian landing ship has been destroyed and 2 other vessels have been damaged in the occupied Ukrainian port city of Berdyansk, says a Ukrainian official. The Ukrainian military posted footage early on Thursday and said the Orsk had been hit by its forces. Details of what caused the explosion and fire on board the ship are unclear. The cost of living of Russia is surging following the country's invasion of Ukraine, according to new data. Official figures show the price of some household staples such as sugar have jumped by as much as 14% over the past week. Inflation is set to keep rising in Russia, where the ruble has fallen sharply since the Ukraine war began. And that's World News.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
For your wheel lease, visit the Leasing Mahagedara. People's Leasing, Friendly Leasing Mahagedara. More information from the nearest People's Leasing branch.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Power and Energy Minister Pavitra Vaniaraja says the 350 megawatts of natural liquefied petroleum gas (LNG) power plant is expected to add 200 megawatts to the national grid by next week or next year. The minister made these comments while participating in a tour recently to inspect the construction work of the Sri Lanka's first natural liquefied gas power plant to be constructed in the Keralapitiya area. The 350 megawatts Sobadanavi dual-cycle power plant is planned to add 200 megawatts to the national grid by the year 2023 after completing the first phase of the construction. The second phase is scheduled to be completed by 2024 and add 350 megawatts to the national grid. All designs and constructions of this power plant are carried out by Sri Lankan engineers. And that was Development News.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Defending champions, the Chennai Super Kings will take on Kolkata Knight Riders tomorrow at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai to kick off the 15th season of the IPL. The 2022 IPL will have the 10 teams split into the virtual groups of 5 each for the league stage. Mumbai Indians and the Super Kings, the two most successful sides in the IPL, have been placed in separate groups. And that was Sports News.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Fares of intercity and special train services on the upcountry line and the northern line have been increased. The general manager of the railways announced yesterday. The revision in fares is effective from yesterday. A notice issued by the railways general manager noted that fares of intercity and special trains to Al railway station were also amended. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic News, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The Central Bank and the Finance Ministry says Sri Lanka's banking system is stable amid speculation there had been payment delay at a state bank. The Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of Sri Lanka wish to assure the public that all other banks and all other stakeholders that the banking system is stable and that the operations of the state banks are being carried out smoothly, contrary to the statements made otherwise, a central bank statement said. This statement came after questions were raised in Parliament whether there had been a payment delay in a state bank.